eyeball appetizer cake pops.
Let's see what's cooking. Let's get the facts. Let's see what's cooking. It's time for yoyomax12.
Hello everyone. To make these, you'll need to use the basic cake pop method. And that's basically taking some cake that's been baked and cooled, crumbling it into fine crumbs into a bowl, and then adding some frosting. Just enough frosting so that your crumbs stick together and you get something that's a lot like play-doh or modeling clay, so that you're able to make the shapes that you want. Once you get the texture you want, you form them into the shapes that you need. Now for eyeballs, you'll need ball shapes, so I took a cookie scoop in order to get all similar sized portions, rolled them into a ball, then put them in the refrigerator to chill completely. Now, I didn't film my cake pop making when I first made these eyeball cake pops, so that footage you're seeing with the blue and pink is actually from another video, and I bet you some of you recognize it. Okay, so there is a cake pop ball that's been thoroughly chilled. I used a Funfetti cake mix, as you can probably tell. Take a plastic disposable fork, stick it into the cake pop ball about halfway, and then dip it into some white candy melt or into some white chocolate. Be gentle when you're turning because you don't want the cake pop ball to fall off the fork. And as far as the top of the cake ball where it meets the fork, just use another little spoon or another fork just to get that candy melt right to the top. You don't want to have too much going onto the fork. Allow the excess to drip off. Be careful not to shake it too hard because you don't want it to fall back into the bowl. And then place them on a cookie sheet that's been lined with a silicone mat or wax paper to harden. Now I want these to rest standing straight up and down, so I took a drinking glass and just propped the fork up against it just to keep it in an upright position while it hardened. Now if you want to try putting these cake pop eyeballs onto spoons instead of forks, just make them like before, allow them to chill, and then just plop them into the white candy melt, dip them in till they're completely covered, and then put them on a cookie sheet. And I'm actually using a plastic fork that's had the two middle tines broken off as a dipping tool, which works kind of nice. So allow those to harden, and once everything's hardened, you're ready to decorate. I melted some red candy melts, put them in a Ziploc bag with just the corner cut off, and we're going to draw on some red veins to make it look like bloodshot eyeballs. Now you have to decide where you're going to put the iris or the colored part of the eye, and then just draw lines radiating from that point outward, and that'll become obvious in a moment. So I just drew lines and veins from the center outward, and I went all the way around the cake pop ball as well, so you had some in the back. Once you're satisfied with the number of veins you have on your eyeball, you can add a candy iris. While those red candy melts are still liquid, and it'll act as glue to hold it on there. If you can't find these little candies where you live, stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you a video where you can find an alternate method. Now I put a little pool of red candy melts onto some wax paper and then just placed one of the eyeballs on there. And that does two things. It looks a little bit more gross because it looks like it's sitting in a pool of blood, and it also gives it a nice solid base so that they won't flop over when you set them on the table. Now for the ones in spoons, same method, draw on the veins, add the candy iris, and then I took a plastic disposable spoon, then added more melted candy melts, and gave the candy melts a little tap, and that causes them to smooth out and it looks more like a liquid pool. Then pick up that cake ball and put it right into the spoon, and there you have a eyeball in a spoon, and you can put more red candy melts at the back to cover that white portion that's showing. Now you can easily place these into individual treat bags with the handle of the fork or the spoon sticking out the top of the bag, and then just add a little piece of ribbon, and then you can hand them out as treats at your Halloween party. Or you can just set them on a plate just the way they are. Now what else would be fun would be to use maybe a red velvet cake mix for the center of the eyeball, so when you bite into it, it would also look red inside. On your screen right now is a video where I make cookie eyeballs. They're super easy and super fast to make. If you want to see this method, go ahead and click right on your screen or see the link in the description box below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.